Hello and welcome to this podcast. This is going to be a deep dive into the inner meaning of Suprabhatam. So you might have heard this prayer that is called as Suprabhatam. There are various versions of Suprabhatam to the various deities, gods, goddesses across the world. But this is very special, something very special, that is the inner meaning of Sri Sathya Sai Suprabhatham. What is the inner meaning of awakening the God? God is always awake, right? God doesn't sleep, God is always awake. But this is the chanting of Suprabhatam actually awakens one's own self to the concept of presence of divinity inside of us. So I am awakened to the presence of divinity inside of myself. I am awakened to the presence of God within me. Let's get started with the first stanza. The first stanza, it is about the one, the divine, the avatar, who is called by this name and form, who is seen in this avatar as Sathya Sai Baba, has born physically from Mother Ishwaramba. And just as how sun is becoming visible as it gently makes itself shine through the clouds, the sun's rays are kind of peeping through the clouds onto you. The same way, the Atman within is kind of gracing its rays, gracing its guidance to you through all these cells, through the body, through thoughts, through everything, through every faculties, through every sense organs that you are carrying. And when you actually see at that sun, that orange sun, sun is an appearance of the beautiful Swami in orange robe. For that matter, when you look at moon, moon is an appearance of the beautiful Swami in white robe. You look at anything around you, it can create this vision of incarnation of Swami. It's up to us how we look at it. Coming back, O Sathya Sai, O God Self, O Atman, within ourself, awake and arise for getting started with God's work. Now, are we awakening Sathya Sai to do God's work? No. Atman is always awake. There is no sleep for Atman. This is to shake ourselves up and arise to the concept of the presence of Atman, to the concept of doing God's work, to the concept of the Atman guiding us in every task, every moment of your day, from the minutest to the complex. So everything that you are doing during the day, from every very trivial personal hygiene task to the very big task that you're doing for some other person, for the family member or whoever it is, everything is God's work. Everything is being guided by God. That is the same as Atman that is present inside of us. Moving ahead to the second stanza. So, realizing or understanding that all are divine duties, now the Atman is divine. The duties that Atman guides the being to do are also divine. And the Atman, this Atman inside of you, is the same one who is in Parthi, as the Lord, as a sweet Lord, also regarded as a Lord of worlds, Jagati Pate, Uttishta Jagati Pate. The same divine resides within us in totality, not fraction. The entire divinity is residing within us. O Atman, the embodiment of compassion inside. Karuna Purna. Uttishta Karuna Purna. Again, as a reminder, the Atman is never sleeping, right? We, in this Maya form, wake up to the concept of Atma residing within. And that the whole embodiment of compassion, Karuna Purna, the whole embodiment of compassion is inside us. You know, Swami says, whoever, whatever situation or whoever the person is you hate for a specific reason, with the same reason you can also love. And how can this happen? This can happen, the love gets realized from this very ocean of compassion that's present within us. Karuna Purna. Through this awareness of Atman, whatever we do during the day spreads auspiciousness. Loka Mangala Siddhaye. Everything that we do becomes divine. Everything becomes auspicious. Everything is a blessing, and we spread the divine blessing. When does that happen? When we awaken ourselves to the presence of divinity inside of us. Moving ahead, what the stanza describes is about Chitravati, but what does it signify spiritually as an inner meaning? On the vast spacious banks of Chitravati, how about creating that vast empty space within, that mental emotional space, right? The mental and emotional space filled up by various thoughts, feelings, emotions. When it is already filled up, you don't have that space for to even realize that there is divinity inside of me, right? So just imagine you have large open space within, that feeling of inviting, which the just as the river is flowing through the Chitravati banks, the body fluids are flowing like the river Chitravati. Now these fluids, the body fluids, the blood, it could be hormones, it could be digestive juices, it could be enzymes, whatever it is, just imagine that divine playground is very much within you, right? I mean, if you know, or there are various experiences of Swami making the banks of Chitravati as a divine playground. So coming back, just imagine the body fluids are flowing just as how the river Chitravati is flowing, and you have created that space just as how the vast bank of Chitravati is present for inviting people to come there and sit with the divinity. You have that vast empty space within you, and these fluids gently hug the divinity in every cell, just like how Chitravati wrapped herself around Swami's feet. If you know of that incident, Swami is very much there in every cell, just like how Swami was sitting on the banks of Chitravati's spacious, peaceful abode within. Various body fluids, blood, bile, digestive juices, water, whatever it is, they are wrapping around Swami, and Swami is present in every atom, every cell, every inch within this body. There is no denial. God is present within us. God is present in every cell within us. Right? And the stanza goes about explaining about the sevaks, the volunteers, the sevadal basically. And what are the sevaks? If you look at your physical, the combination of physical, mental, emotional, spiritual entity, that is by name and form of your name, the sevaks of yours. And what are the sevaks? My sense organs, the sense organs that we are blessed with, the faculties that we are blessed with, intellectual thinking ability, the mind, are all waiting for your divine darshan and command. So when you consider the Atma is very much guiding you, your sense organs act according to how the Atma guides you and not get influenced by the world outside, right? So they are all the sevaks, that is our sense organs, faculties, intellectual abilities, thinking ability, mind, everything, all these, the arms, the hands, the feet, your legs that are walking, everything is waiting for that God's, for that command from Atman, while also considering that all is God's work. So this body becomes a sevak, mind is a sevak, thoughts, words, actions, everything. Please consider all of these as your sevaks and bless them with the awareness so as to realize that all that they do is God's work, even if it is not pleasant at this point of time, even if I am in the midst of conflict with somebody out there at this point of time. Please help me realize that all these faculties are doing is God's work. Also granted with immense God's grace. So no matter what kind of challenge these sevaks are stuck up with, they are also granted with immense God's grace. To be humble and grateful is what is important for all of these sevaks. So each of these sense organs, each of these internal bodily organs, kidneys, lungs, liver, all that you can name of, all that you cannot name about, all of these, it is required for me to be humble and grateful for all of these sevaks, for me to be able to do God's work. I'm doing God's work is one thought, right? So maybe that is something, this thought also needs to be graced upon by the God itself, by the God himself. It is not our, it should not be pumped up by our ego self, obviously. So the one thing is, whatever we are doing is God's work. That is one phase of, that is one step that we can climb up. And the second step that we can climb up is, and whatever the work is going on, is for my own realization, is for my own redemption. So, for us to be able to do something for our redemption is a great, great blessing. Obviously, right? You're doing something through which you're becoming close to God, you're becoming close to the divinity, you're becoming close to Swami. So, it is a great blessing, and it is an opportunity for you to be forever grateful to the God divine for this opportunity. Whatever is the human will, however strong the human will is, nothing can happen without divine will. This also means that the human can consider human will as strong, stronger, and strongest only when there is an ego that is pushing it. So, when I am considering my will is the highest, that means I am being pumped up by the ego. Once I work on that ego self, once my ego is cleared from the picture, the human will is just as much required as to realize and surrender to divine will. Only so much of that will is required to do that effort to realize and surrender to divine will, right? And there is also a line on Aditya Kanti Ranubhati. The sun rays are being shown over the earth, Samasta Lokan, over the entire world, not just earth. So, just as how the radiance of the sun is illuminating all the worlds, the radiance from your presence, that is the divine presence inside, is illuminating all the senses, faculties, every corner of this body, every cell, every space, every inch, every atom. It is only with the divine presence that all these parts of the being are pumped up with energy, and they have the ability to do what is supposed to be done. Ending this with my salutations to the divinity within, the Atman within, the Swami within, and wake myself up to the existence, to the presence of God within. Moving ahead is about Tvannama Kirtana Rathastava Divya Nama. Singing your name, singing, talking, or sharing your glory during the day. You can start your day with bhajans or whatever it is that you're doing, but no matter what time of the day it is, wherever you are singing the name or singing the song or singing the glory or even talking about glory or sharing your glory, just remembering your name itself, that divinity itself, remembering that divinity itself brings so much joy to me. Where is that joy coming from? When I remember, when I think, when I remind myself of that name and form, yes, it does bring me joy, it does bring me bliss, but where is that joy coming from? Where is that bliss coming from? It is the same bliss that exists as divinity within. When we make an attempt to get closer to the divinity, our Atma, through Smarana, Kirtana, our Atma, that is the portal for you to feel the bliss from the Atma, is opened up. And you are able to feel the feeling of bliss. You are able to feel the feeling of joy. Now you are able to realize what bliss feels like. And that bliss itself is God. The joy itself is divinity. Thank you for that feeling, that ability to feel. And thank you for blessing me with ability to feel the feelings. Right? Feeling the feeling is one thing. Thanks for the feeling. And thanks for making me able to feel that feeling. Everything is divine. Everything is God's will. Right? Now, every cell filled with divinity, Swami's presence, right? Every cell is filled with Swami, is full with nectar of love. Through this love, my heart beats to the song of life, to the tune of your glory. Let all the actions that I do be done with ultimate devotion unto you, wholly, completely, truly, soulfully unto you. This is a practical, devoted song that I can offer you. So, what is a song that we can offer? A song that we can offer is all our bodily actions, the actions being in tune with the music that is getting created inside of us. Not just the heartbeat. There are various other vibrations going on, right? There are various other vibrations that can lead to sounds. Maybe we are not able to hear, but there is definitely a rhythm, there is definitely a music going inside of us. So let that be guided by divinity. Let me realize that yes, there is the God is present very much within me, and let my actions be in tune with God's guidance. So and that is a song that I can actually dedicate to you. Through this, I maybe can also spread out the love to all who interact with me during this day. So when I am in such a pleasant mood, with bliss, realizing bliss and joy throughout the day, definitely that gets spread out, right? I become a channel. Now I am not doing something great there, but I am just becoming a channel for that kind of energy to flow through. And at that point of time, what the energy is the feeling of love, the feeling of bliss, the feeling of joy. I'm allowing that to flow through me to the neighboring person, to the other person. Please grace me, datum kripa sahita. Right? So that's the stanza where I am at. Please grace me with your inward, internal darshan. That is what is very important. Nothing physical can actually come in your way with the connection that you want to make with your God. Nothing physical can come in your way. So please grace me by gracing me with your, by blessing me with your inward darshan. That is constantly, all the time, keep your presence in my awareness. So I have to be aware of your presence. Let me always hear your voice, the voice of God, the intuition, my inner voice. Let me not get carried away by the ego self, by the voice of the ego self. Moving ahead is about how devotees bring in flowers. Adaya Divya Kusumani Manoharani. And what is the inner meaning of that? Bringing unto you are, what can I bring to you? Is this heart? So I would want to claim it as pure heart. So please help me make it pure, keeping it pure with thoughts only focused on your divine name and form. All that I can offer are already yours, given to this body by you. You just gave it to me for you to use this for a certain purpose. Please help me, please keep me, please help me maintain them pure so I can continue to stay in your awareness. With this offering, not even an offering again, I mean, when I say it's an offering, I can say I can offer myself at thy lotus feet, but it is not even offering, it is everything that is given by God. So what can we offer God, right? So basically help me keep intact the yearning and enthusiasm. The yearning is the inner urge. The yearning is the inner urge for me to connect with you. The enthusiasm is the way I show up at every moment in life. So something that is inside of me, the inner urge to connect with God, and my enthusiasm in life, how I show up in every task, in every duty, in every job of mine. Let both of them be in sync. Yes, enthusiasm for God is easy, right? When you know that Lord Krishna is coming here at the place that you are living in, very enthusiastically you will go out and look out at that direction. Look out to have a glance at that divine name and form that is Krishna, right? So yes, enthusiasm for God is very easy. But enthusiasm towards everything that you do during the day becomes challenging, but with this training, the internal training that we can do to our own self, let that be in sync, let that be in tune with the inner urge that I have for you. So it's a question again, it's a question to ask for our own self. Can you carry that enthusiasm in everything that you do in your day? Enthusiasm for life, for waking up, for living, for devotion for God, that urge, that yearning. So yeah, that's something that we should be reflecting upon. And moving ahead, it's about Deshantaragata. So it's about people coming from all over the world, whereas as an inner reflection, as an inner meaning, it's about the mind having roamed all around the place, all around the world, taking inputs, gathering information. We are always in that consumption mode, right? Always consuming information from people, from internet, from reels, from shorts, whatever it is, from social media, from newspaper, from books, right? So the mind having roamed around all over the place, taking inputs, gathering information from all over, considering each of it as the most wisest, most important. Everything becomes important. You read something, you read a headline in the newspaper, oh my god, such a thing happened, that becomes important. I mean, you are giving importance to that. That is what I mean. But the most important is the intuition, is the inner voice that you can hear from inside of you. So tapping on that inner voice is a pure wisdom. Everything around gives you information, but pure wisdom can only be got from inner voice. So please help me do that. And we usually feel happy, we take delight in constant chanting, right, of the divine's name, your divine's glory, or Veda, or whatever it is. There is no end for divinity's fame. I mean, if you get started to speak about the marvels, the miracles of any divine personality, there is no end to it, to those miraculous fame, to that miraculous stories. Every moment of your life, specifically Swami's life, at every moment he showed up at multiple places at the same moment. So obviously you cannot cover all of these places in your lifetime. I mean, so many miracles are there. So you are beyond time and place. The divinity is beyond time and place. You exist at multiple places at the same moment, and this is absolutely incomprehensible by human form. You tell us all this, and what does Swami say? All this that we actually cannot comprehend exists within us. That is what Swami is trying to teach us. All the divine principle that is actually not comprehensible by human mind exists within us. Now we have to chew on it, and we have to digest it, and we have to assimilate it, right? This seems like such a huge concept, yet you keep it very simple by responding to us whenever we think of you. That is your intuition, that is your inner voice. You are waiting for us to think of you more than we waiting to have your darshan. You, your stories, your miracles are spread out throughout the earth and beyond all these worlds. Such vast you, this concept of divinity, such vast concept of divinity is within every being, and that is something we need to comprehend, we need to realize. So basically, how we can understand something that the human mind cannot comprehend is one challenge, and how can we implement that in our daily life is the second step, right? And the next one speaks about seekers, Jignasu. Seekers from all around the world seeking the reality, right? So as an inner meaning, inner reflection, here I sit waiting for you. Every cell of mine reflects the seeking and urge to hear you, the inner voice, to see you, your form, your inner vision, to chant you, to remember you, the name and form of you, O Sathya Sai. Now again, scientifically also this is true, that every cell has memory, every cell has a heart. Heart meaning it's not just the physical organ heart, but it is about how the cell is guided by the Atman heart, basically, right? So so every cell is seeking for you, to have your remembrance, to have your inner vision, to hear you as that inner voice. Please grace me with this blessing, is a request that we are putting forward. And the next one speaks about what kind of heart, basically the purity of heart that we are bringing upon. With body, basically the attributes, the qualities, the behavior, words, speech, action, thoughts, all these faculties with hearts, basically everything, all this put together, as pure as Mother Sita, as pure as the lotus, right? Make them that is the real inner urge. Please give the strength to not let it get camouflaged, to not let it get corrupted by ego or ego self. Please do not let me go. Let me not get carried away by any mask, by any camouflage. Let that purity shine through. So, inside, internally, we are pure. We have that ocean of compassion. Everything that is, every feel good vibe is present inside of you, right? So, like women carrying in their hands beautiful garlands of flowers. Help me, enable me. So, this actually had a very personal realization that that actually is a very long explanation, which I'm not sure I may not be able to put it in this episode, and I'm not even sure when I will be sharing that. But it's a very long realization that I had just with this stanza. So just like women carrying in their hands, or people carrying in their hands beautiful garlands of flowers, help me, enable me carry beautiful garlands of cells, the cells that you have blessed me with, not tainted by any ego, but only filled with pure love for one and all, across all the worlds, across all the worlds. Tuning, that is beating to this tune. And that rhythm, what is a rhythm? The rhythm is moving to the cell that are vibrating is a rhythm. That is a rhythm of life, right? And my actions should be in tune with your glory that is already filled in this world and beyond, right? Salutations to thee. And the next stanza is about what happens when you read and all of that. But again, just look at the inner meaning. So basically, once we keep reading this, once we keep chanting this, you will have your own realizations. Each person will have their own realizations. I had a huge breakthrough, basically a huge breakthrough, and that happened actually when I was driving a car. And just imagine how much I had to withhold. So basically, all of us who are going through this will attain the abode, the supreme abode. Again, this is not exactly towards the end, right? It's not that is our destination. Yes, that is your destination, is merging with God, that's right. But it is about living life seated at that supreme abode, being open to knowledge and wisdom that is emanating from within, right? It is living your life like you are already seated in this abode, like you are already seated in this midst of God, like you are already merged with God. That is how it gets reflected in our lifetime. It is not only the destination, it is also our journey. And it ends with Mangalam, the word Mangalam. Mangalam is auspiciousness to the Guru who brings forward, basically, to the Guru who brings forward his own self, this avatar by this name and form called Swami, called Sri Sathya Sai Baba, called by various names, but it's the personal connect that each one has. So the auspiciousness of this wisdom giver, the one who gives wisdom, and that is auspicious, right? And this one is manifested in Parti. So that is how the entire Sri Sathya Sai Suprabhatham ends. And I actually thought this was a very formal talk. This was a very formal talk that I have with Swami, but I never have formal talks, but I somehow went ahead and I got inspired. Again, I want to remove the I, let me not be the focus. Maybe I just became a channel. Again, I want to remove this I. So this name and form has become a channel to spread this, maybe this perspective of inner meaning. You will have your own perspective of inner meaning. The other person will have their own perspective of this inner meaning. So that is how this name and form of this entity that is sitting on this side of the mic would like to conclude. Thank you very much for listening to me. This has been a long episode. Thank you very much for being until here, and may you shine through the divinity that's sitting inside of you, that's very much seated inside of you. Thank you once again. Sai Ram.